Hello, everyone, and welcome to the History and Development of Jewish Thought. I'm your professor, Matt Pitts, and I'm excited to be here. I did this little circle here in the bottom so you can actually see me. In the day of AI, who knows what's on the other end of a course you're taking. So I wanted to give you a chance to be able to see me, and so we can have that little bit of interaction. Anyways, this is the History and Development of Jewish Thought from the biblical to the rabbinic eras. I love teaching this course. I've taught this, probably 8 or 9 times now. It's a great course, and it's really timely right now, too, with everything that's going on in the world. There's a lot that sort of geopolitics that hinges on the Middle East, the situation in Israel, Gaza. This course will not get into that per se, but it'll give you hopefully the foundations to be able to understand it a little bit better, right? To be able to speak a little bit in a little bit more of an informed capacity. All right. Now, first of all, a quick disclaimer on the course. You don't have to know anything about religion or about Judaism in general to be successful in this course. So all the information that I'm going to give you is designed to give you kind of a review of the information. You'll get the same information that everybody's getting. So even if people come into this with knowledge, with their own religious and spiritual practices, they're not necessarily a leg up, because all of you will receive the same information. And we'll synthesize that information together. So I've seen people that don't know anything about Judaism beforehand do very well in the course, and I've seen some people that know a lot about it not do as well, because they kind of try to just sort of go through the course on what they do know, and they're not reading the sources or engaging with the material that we have in the course. So if you follow the course directions I'm going to give you here, you'll do great. You'll be successful in the course. The other little piece of not really advice, but just another thought is that what I want you to do as you go through this syllabus lecture, as you review this and you review the syllabus, just decide whether this is the right course for you, right? Because I don't want to have a situation where at the end of the semester you feel like, the way that we did things in this course you didn't like, and it wasn't conducive to the way that you operated as a student. I just don't want you to be in a situation like that. So just think closely about and carefully about whether or not the course structure and design fits well for you. So hopefully it does. I'd love to have you stay in the course. Okay, so let's go through the syllabus. I'm going to kind of fly through some of this beginning stuff, and I'll get to the meat of it. It's a formatting issue. I can never figure out how to close that gap there. Here are your required texts, so you want to get those as quick as you can, so that we can start in on the readings. We won't pull from any of these texts this week, and give you a chance to kind of get those materials before we start in on the readings. GE requirements, course objectives. So I'll let you kind of go through some of this stuff on your own. And now let's get to what you'll need to do to be successful in this course. Okay. So there's 1,000 points possible. There's no extra credit, but 1,000 points for the course. And you'll see that I break the assignments into kind of different types of assignments. Some of them are graded, like, for example, the quizzes, the research paper, the final exam. Others, you get credit for doing them and doing them, with sufficient effort, and but you'll get full credit for doing it. Those are the postings, reviews, and the synagogue assignment. And I'll go over that in a little bit more detail as we go through. So let's just start in on the assignments. First of all, we have the discussion postings and replies. There are 12 postings that are due throughout the semester. Now, we'll have like 15 weeks, so you guys don't have to post every week, but I'll have a forum available every week. And the purpose of the forum is basically, it's kind of meant to address the fact that we don't have any face-to-face time in this class. We don't have any class periods, and we can't participate in that way as we discuss these topics. And so the forum posting is meant to be our discussion board, basically. So every week you'll have the opportunity to post something, and the forum will just be open, and all you have to do is just create your own post. And basically what I want to see for the forum postings is about 2 to 3 paragraphs. We're talking about maybe 8 to 9 sentences or something like that, on anything that kind of stuck out to you in the week. So it could be from the readings, could be from the lecture, Could be from some of the videos that I'll have you watch that you'll have a little bit throughout the semester. And basically, I just want you to engage with the information and, just let me know, what surprised you, what was different than you thought, maybe something you disagree with. I mean, you're going to see that the writers that we have in the texts are actually quite different, and they approach it quite differently. And chances are you're going to disagree with at least one of them in the way they approach things. So it's okay, bring it up here in the forum discussion. Obviously, all the forum discussions need to be respectful, need to be respectful of the material and of your fellow students. So anyways, so you'll do 12 postings throughout the semester. So that means you have 3 weeks or so that you don't have to post. Now remember, you can only actually do one posting a week for credit. So you could post, all 15 weeks and you'll just get the 12 postings for credit that are required. But let's say you wait until the last 4 weeks of the semester to do this. You can't post 3 a week and get it done. You can only get credit for 1 a week. Okay. All right. In addition to posting, and one thing to keep in mind is that the postings actually are going to be due by Thursday night of the week at 11:59 p.m. Thursday of every week. And our class week will start on Monday morning and go till Sunday evening. Okay. And Monday morning is when you get the new module, when you get the new readings, the new lecture, and all that kind of stuff. So your posting is going to be due on Thursday night at 11:59 p.m. Now, the reason I do this is because I don't want to create a situation where everybody's waiting until Sunday night to post, and then you have a requirement to reply to those postings as well. I'll talk about that in a second. And I just don't want everybody scrambling Sunday night to get it done. So you have until Thursday night at 11:59. If you post after that, you just won't get credit for it for the week. Okay. Now you also have 20 replies that are due throughout the semester. You can get credit for up to 2 replies a week. Okay, so technically, if you want to do 2 replies a week, that's only 10 weeks that you got to be engaged in the forum with respect to the replies. Or you can do 1 per week and then double up on a few weeks. But the replies are much shorter. They're usually a few sentences to respond to the posting of one of the other students. So you just jump on and I don't want it to just be like, hey, great post, I want you to actually engage and give some of your opinions. Or if you disagree with them, that's fine too. Just say, well, this is why I disagree with you, and see if we can get a discussion happening. Okay. Remember, you guys have all the authority to have your own opinion, but the thing about opinions is that, especially in an academic setting, you want to make sure that they're informed. You want to make sure that they're based on information maybe that you've experienced, but maybe more so that you have studied and that you've come across and that you've read and things like that in the reading. So feel free to be liberal with your opinions, to be open with your opinions. So just as a review, 12 postings throughout the semester, 1 per week per credit, 20 replies throughout the semester. You can do up to 2 per week for credit. Now the replies, you can post them as soon as Monday. You can post them as soon as possible. It just depends on when you got people that are putting in their postings, and then you can start replying to them. You don't have to wait till after Thursday to submit your replies. You can do it at any time throughout the week. Okay. All right. And that's 24% of your grade. So in total, that's 240 points. But again, as I was saying before, if you do this and you do it right, you will get those full points. I'm not going to go through and, read your postings, because look, you raise your hand in class and you make a comment, your teacher, hopefully the professor is not grading your comment and deciding how many points you get for that comment, right? So that's the idea with the discussions, is that, feel free to just discuss, just put that out there. And I don't want you to be worrying about whether you're getting full credit or not. You do this and you will get full credit. The only way that you won't is if I read through the postings, which I do, and I see, okay, this person seems to be not putting in a lot of effort on the postings, okay? Then I go to you and I email you and you say, hey, I need a little bit more effort from you on these postings. I need a little more thoughtful postings. And then if you continue to not put forth the effort, then you may get deducted, but I'll always give you a chance. Okay. Now I got to say something about AI. I don't want AI used in this. I mean, you don't benefit from AI. Don't use it. We have ways of identifying it, but don't use it on the postings. Just do it yourself. I know it would be so easy to just give a prompt to ChatGPT or something like that, but seriously, if you want to learn anything in this class, you've got to engage. You've got to engage with the material. Just leave AI out of it. I have a lot of students that failed the final last year because they used AI, and it was very readily apparent. So don't do it. Okay, let's move on. Next, we have the quizzes. 14 quizzes. So pretty much every week you'll get a quiz of some sort. Almost every week. There'll be 15 minutes that you'll have to take it. Total of 210 points. The quizzes will open up on Friday morning every week. So you have to wait till near the end of the week to take the quiz, but you can take it up to 11:59 p.m. on Sunday evening. But keep in mind that you got to leave 15 minutes for yourself to take the quiz. If you take it right up to the deadline, the system will shut you off and just submit your scores, whatever you've got submitted at that time, whatever you got put in. So the quizzes will be based on the material, based on the readings, largely a lot from the lectures. So make sure that you're reading through or that you're paying attention during the lectures. I can pull from any videos that I assign or whatever. So, take a couple of these quizzes, see how you do. But it is worth studying for, because I don't let you go back and retake quizzes. So, anyways, and I'm sorry, it's a 20-minute time limit per quiz. I said 15, but it's 15 questions, 20-minute time limit per quiz. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Next, there is a synagogue assignment. So this is like the temple assignment. It's sort of like a lived religion assignment. Each student during the semester will attend some sort of Jewish temple, Jewish synagogue service. I think I say on here a Sabbath service, but it doesn't have to be a Sabbath service. It could be a bris, it could be a it could be a bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah, whatever. It could be a Saturday service, whatever it is. Now, if you're Jewish and you already attend synagogue, I want you to attend some different form. So if you're Reform, maybe go to a conservative one, or if you're Orthodox, go to a Reform one. I want you to have a different experience than what you're familiar with. So this will probably be the most memorable part of the course for you guys, the lived religion component. It's a ton of fun, and it's so fascinating and interesting, because as we study a religion, and the development of their history and their thought, we have to see the lived aspect of the religion. Sometimes it's hard to get from the readings. You can read devotional material, and we have a little bit of that kind of sprinkled throughout just to get a sense of it. But mostly what you'll get in terms of that aspect of the lived component of the religion will be through the synagogue assignment. Okay. So it's 150 points. You have until November 10th. So you don't have the whole semester. You've got the first 12 weeks basically to do it. Now, it may be a good idea to reach out and contact the synagogue and ask if they have any particular rules for visitors, or if there's particular services you'd like to come to. I've never had a student contact me and say, hey, this temple or this synagogue was upset that I showed up. I've never had that happen. So usually they love to share what is special to them with visitors. So basically what you're going to do is go to that, and then I want you to write basically a 2 to 3 page paper, double spaced, that tells about your experience. Now, in terms of the type of paper, it doesn't have to be footnoted. It doesn't have to be, I don't care if it's like Chicago or MLA or whatever. Just give me a little short reaction paper to your experience. This is almost like one of the postings that you'll have each week. I just want your response to what you experienced, what you saw. Was it different than what you expected? What surprised you? What was moving to you? What did you notice? Things like that. And tell me about your experience. And as long as you do that, you'll get full credit. Okay, and you confirm. You're going to want to confirm in that paper what temple or synagogue you attended as well, and when you attended it. Okay. Next, the research paper. Now, I do this research paper kind of like if you were in grad school. Now, maybe some of you guys are going to do grad school, maybe not. But it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I give you the whole semester to do the paper. Now, usually what that means for most students is that they end up writing the paper right before finals. So this is one of those things that decide if this is right for you. And if it's not, set an earlier time, kind of an earlier deadline for yourself. But I just want you to have all the time that you need to write the paper. So I strongly recommend that you do not wait till finals. But if that's what you're going to do, your paper probably won't be as good as it could be, and you're going to be cursing my name because you're writing your paper when you should be studying for your finals. So, but it's due December 8th, the week before the last week, the Monday of the last week of class. So just think about that and make sure that you're starting it beforehand and that you're writing it in advance. Now, here's the other thing that is sort of like a graduate class for this. I'm not giving you a topic. I'm not telling you what you have to write on. You can write on anything that sticks out to you from this course. And even if it's not something that we covered, if it's something that's like fits into the Judaica or the Jewish studies category, then you can write about it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me to confirm if your topic will be acceptable. Now, some of you may be new to undergrad, and you may not have a lot of experience doing research papers. A research paper is not just like we used to write in elementary school, where you just kind of get the sources and copy what they say, and just kind of move them from one spot to the other, right? A research paper is about coming up with a question and then answering it through your research, and then pulling different sources as you put together some sort of new analysis of it. Now, it doesn't mean that you necessarily, you're not writing a dissertation or a thesis. You're not coming up, you don't have to come up with something brand new that nobody's looked at, right? But your paper shouldn't be just a recreation from other sources. It shouldn't just be like I've had papers where I look and there's one source, right? They put it all in their own words, but in the end, they're really just taking that information from that article or from that book or whatever, and they're just moving it over onto their paper, right? So that's why you should have a good research paper like this, and it's I think it's 5 to 7 pages. It should have, maybe 8 to 15 sources or something like that. I want to see that you've looked at a lot of different places to be able to understand your research question, right? And so it always starts out with a question, with a thesis, like, what about this? What was Jewish life like for women in the Second Temple period? What about Jews and the concept of just war? And that just, there's a lot of different directions that you could go with it. Now, make sure that you're not too broad. You don't want to do like Judaism. That's just, where do you go? I mean, you can have some topics that are like, religious, that you can have like, but in the end, your paper is going to be way too broad, right? Now, we don't really cover the Holocaust, but that's one thing I see in the other half of the class that goes from the rabbinic period to the modern day. There's a lot of people who will write about the Holocaust, and that's totally fine, but that's way too broad of a topic. You can't just write about the Holocaust. You got to find something within there, like Jews and the destruction of Jews in Poland, or Jewish the Jewish community in Hungary, things like that. So just make sure that you're not going way too broad. And if you have questions about your research paper topic, just run them by me. Happy to discuss them with you. We can get on a call. We can email, text, whatever you'd like. Okay, so you want to have at least 2 primary sources. So I'll let you guys kind of look into what primary sources are, but hopefully you know this. And I'll tell you real quickly, primary source is basically something that somebody that's happened, what should happen. The Bible is a primary source. So when I say you need at least 2 primary sources in your paper, if you're writing about something biblical, you can use text from the Bible as a primary source. Otherwise, there's writings from ancient Jewish historians, Philo, Josephus. There's a lot of different routes that you can go. But I want to make sure that you're familiar with what a primary source is. Those are the people that saw it happen. Secondary sources are the ones that wrote about it afterwards, right? They looked at the primary sources, they researched and read what people said about it, and then they wrote a synopsis of it after the fact. That's the difference between primary and secondary sources. So I want to make sure there's at least 2 primary sources, which means you're digging in and not just reading what's been written about your topic, but you're actually reading and studying from the people that experience your topic. Okay? And that research paper is 200 points. Now, final thing is the final exam. Now, right now, I have it set for Monday through Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And right now, it's just set to take online, just like the quizzes that you're going to take. You take them at your own leisure or whatever. I split it into, true or false, there's an essay question, there's some multiple choice questions, but I reserve the right to change the final exam. It'll still be 20% of your grade. It'll still be with 200 points, but I had a lot of people use AI last year, and I just don't know if I can go in the same direction that I did, because it was just so apparent as I was reading through these essays that that's what they were doing. So I just don't want to put you guys in a situation like that. And it's just, it caused a lot of people's grades to suffer. And so I'm still considering how I'm going to do the final exam. Maybe I'll try to figure out a good way to do it still in the same way that I've described. Maybe I'll try to come up with some sort of testing software that we use for it. Excuse me. But it's the only test that you'll have in the semester. There's no midterm, excuse me. There's just the final exam. Jeez. All right, so anyways, more information on that. But actually, as you look at the course, you'll see that there's going to be a final exam kind of study guide that's going to be on there. So you'll see that right away. And whether I do the final exam in the way that I've described here on the syllabus or some other way, it'll still pull from the same study guide, which is basically, if you know those terms really well, you'll do great on the final exam, no matter how I administer it. All right, so just a quick review of what your week would look like. And I'm just scrolling here for fun. I don't have anything I'm looking at showing you, but basically what you're looking at is Monday mornings, you wake up, you can jump on, there will be an email from me with kind of a review of the week, an overview of what we're going to talk about that week. You'll see the lectures posted on there. You'll see the readings on there. And the readings are here as well, the topics and things like that. But follow the modules as I post them each week, and it'll be that's where it'll be clear what we're going to be studying, because I may kind of diverge from some of this a little bit. But so Monday, you'll have access to that. You'll start doing the readings. You'll watch the lecture, and then you can start posting. The forum will be available as well at the beginning of each week, so you can start posting as soon as you'd like. Now your posting is going to be due by the 11:59 of Thursday of that week, and remember, you have to do 12 throughout the semester. Only one counts for credit per week, right? So by Thursday evening, you'll have your post done. And at any time, you can start doing replies. If you look on the forum for that week, you're not going to look at the previous week. That's already closed out, and there won't be any credit for that. But you start looking at things people have posted for this week. And as long as it's good to go, they've been posted on there, you can start doing your replies. So you do those at any time throughout the week. And then starting Friday morning, you'll see the quiz pop up. It won't be there until Friday morning. Then you'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do the quiz. It's just at any time during that time, 20 minutes. Make sure that you've got your technology under control. You're not taking it from your phone with spotty cell service. Make sure you've got good service so that it doesn't bump you out, because if it bumps you out, that'll be your quiz attempt. Now, if you have technical issues, reach out to me, but I really want you to make sure that you're working from a good computer when you take the quizzes, so you don't get bumped, because I don't want to give you access to be able to see the questions, get bumped, and then you have more time to study and be prepared for the questions. So just make sure you're taking it from a good computer. Okay, I hope that gives you a good overview of the semester. I'm here for you if you guys need anything. The fastest response will be by text. My phone number is right here. Let's see here. Yeah. So feel free to reach out by text. You can email. It's just the email kind of interacts with my another email server that I use through Outlook. And so sometimes it's hard to get those emails and see them in a quick amount of time. So text is the quickest way to get a hold of me if you've got questions. But I hope you guys stay in the class. I hope you enjoy this semester. I hope you learn a lot. It really is fascinating. We'll learn from each other. We'll have the lived religion experience, which will be a real benefit and a real boon to you as a student. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. But again, welcome to History and Development of Jewish Thought. Thank you.